Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. Getting this wonky iPad set up again here. Hello, welcome. It's Thursday. My Thursday daily vlog. How are you today? I'm good. It's funny, I had some other topics planned for today, and sometimes life just takes you in a different direction, and that happened today. Not so much, in any drastic way or anything, but because I watched a movie, which is something I do a lot. But this is a movie that I wouldn't, just a rental. I plan on watching it, and I didn't plan on talking about it, but I feel now like it's just taken over my thoughts for the day, so I figured I should talk about it today. And sometimes, I see a lot of movies by myself. Some people don't like to go to the movies by themselves. Like my sister is like that. I seriously doubt my sister, who's older than me, has probably ever seen a movie by herself. She just always goes with a friend or her daughter or her boyfriend or, whoever. I go to the movies all the time by myself. I actually like it. And I watch a lot of movies by myself on my computer or on my, if I rent it on DVD or Blu-ray, etc. But there are times when you watch a movie and you really do wish you had someone else there. So at the end of the movie, you could be like, you could turn to them and go, wait, what do you think about, you could talk about the movie like right then, like, okay, they did this, and then what, do you really think that, and you could start to hash it out with another human. Since I don't have that, you obviously turn to the internet. And, you can obviously Google things and see what other people's reviews were at the time, etc., etc. Okay, so the movie that has me all kind of in a tizzy today is a movie called Compliance. Compliance. And I'll try to put it, the name of this movie and the few others that I'll mention down in the box, the description box. And just really briefly, because I don't want this video to be too super long, the movie is about something that I'd heard about, and this is a guy calling mostly fast food restaurants, in the case that the movie is based on a McDonald's, and telling the manager that one of the employees had stolen something. She needed to take the employee, out of working, take him into the back, and strip search them for the money. And things escalate from there, and bad things happen to this person who is accused of obviously something that they didn't do. So the movie was very, low budget, independent. You're not going to recognize any of the people in it. It's very sort of docudrama, Primetime Live 2020 feel to it. It was made, I think, in 2012. And I remember hearing about it and thinking, oh, that sounds interesting. And it just, it just appeared on Japanese rental shelves recently, so I rented it. And it's just one of those movies where you watch it, and I literally had to turn it off. It was so unsettling to me, and I couldn't keep watching it because, and I really don't want to spoil it. I really want you to try to watch it. It's one of these movies where I want you to try it, and tell me what you think. I wish it was a more shared experience. But I will say that, I then went, after I watched it, not knowing that it was going to evoke this kind of reaction, I then went and read some reviews online about it when it came out at the time. And at the time, people were walking out of the screenings and shouting, like, come on, like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? At the screen, and then walking out and stuff like that. And it's one of those type of movies where you're just like, this is too ridiculous. How can this movie keep going? At any point, something could happen that could stop the mechanisms of the plot from further going, and you're just incredulous that it doesn't happen. And not only does it, it escalates beyond reason. and then the gut punch is that it's all very much based on a true incident, and not just one, but it turns out this guy who was doing these things had done it like 70 times in a period of about a decade. Anyway, so it comes down to a question of authority, which I find psychologically very interesting. I'm a huge fan of Orwell's 1984. There's other movies on this type of thing that I really liked. I really liked a David Mamet movie called Oleana, which is with William H. Macy. And that's a movie that was a two-person, two-act play. David Mamet, who's just, if you don't know who David Mamet is, he's one of the best writers ever in America. And he writes for the stage, but he also writes for the movies. You've probably heard of movies like Glen Ross, which is a famous one of his. So it's very hard to watch. The dialogue is very Mamet, very stilted, and you have to really pay attention. But it will get you talking in a way very few films will. And that movie's about sexual harassment between a university professor and a female student. And again, it's like an argument-inducing film, and that's what I think Compliance is. Would you have acted the same way, put in this position as these characters? But they're not. They're sort of real people in Compliance, and you want to say, no, I would have never done this. But studies and psychological studies and stuff say people often will do things under the force of authority that they would have never thought they would have done, and then it becomes like, okay, well, how compliant, the German people went along with Hitler while he was doing these terrible things. Are they as to blame as, this person or this person? Who's to blame for what happened to this employee at this store? It's a fictional chicken, restaurant in the movie, etc. So it's just one of those, it just gets your brain buzzing type films, and I'm kind of still abuzz about it. And like I said, I finished watching it, and it's not a horror movie. There's no blood. There's no gore. There's a little bit of nudity, but it really will kind of like get you like, I don't know. It'll just get your shackles up. It's interesting, and there are movies like this. Again, like another movie I like this a little bit, although it's more of a straight thriller than this movie. There's a true crime British movie from the early 90s called Let Him Have It. And it's an early performance by Christopher Eccleston. And I recommend it. Good movie, directed by a good director who's gone on to do things, like on TV, like The Wire and things. But in the movie, again, I don't want to tell you a lot about it, but basically it comes down to somebody gets shot. And there are two people, that are doing something criminal, and the policeman that gets shot, there's a person with a gun. Now, one guy turns to the other guy with the gun, and the policemen say over across the way, and the one guy says to the other guy, let him have it. Did he mean give him the gun, or did he mean, let him have it, like shoot him? You have to decide. So the movies like that fascinate me, and this movie really is just, like I said, sometimes when you live alone, especially if you live in Japan, I could go to work tomorrow, even, I don't have work tomorrow because we're on spring vacation, but nobody at work would have seen this movie. It's a low budget, kind of off the map indie movie as it is. And so it's just like, you just want someone, you can talk to about it. So, that's why the internet is here, and that's why I'm telling you about it now. That's kind of took over my day unexpectedly. I just couldn't stop thinking about it when I was at my Eikaiwa job and stuff, So, but not an appropriate subject necessarily for my Eikaiwa classes. But interesting. So it's called Compliance. I do recommend it, although you should go in knowing that you will probably be aggravated by it in one degree or another. Okay, that's Daily Vlog for Thursday. I will try my best to do one on Friday. Peace. See you tomorrow. Bye.